This video will focus on the navigation of the fixtures area, as well as the components that go into building a timesheet. Clubs who do not use timesheets can progress to the next video after 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Once logged into your club's OneGolf website, you will land on the admin portal as shown in the previous video. From this page, we're going to select the bookings option. This will bring you to the fixture list page. Let's have a look at this in action. Looking at the admin portal page, we're going to focus our attention on the top left hand corner of the screen. This is where you'll find the bookings option. Select this. The page that will appear is the fixture list. This will show events for every day that you filled out the fixture list spreadsheet that you provided your installer. At this point in time, each of these events will not have a timesheet attached to them, and that's what we're going to create in just a minute. There are a number of options on the fixture list, which we'll work through in future videos. Of note, there are a number of different ways to filter the fixture list view, such as by open, ladies, men's and weekend events. There are also different views of the fixture list that you can look at. These can be found by selecting the monthly or yearly options. Future events can also be navigated to by selecting the calendar option on the left hand side. This will open up the yearly views, which you can navigate forward to. As we mentioned before, each of the events in the fixture list will currently not have a timesheet applied to the days. What we're going to do now is move on to creating these. Clubs who do not use timesheets may skip to the next video, as the remainder of this video will focus on the timesheet configuration process. The first section of timesheet configuration is setting up booking rules. Booking rules allow or block certain categories of membership from playing at certain times, as well as allowing gender-specific times to be created. Let's have a look at how we create a booking rule. The first step in creating a booking rule is navigating to the booking rules area, which is found in the top middle of the screen. Now I'm using a demo site, so I've got a number of booking rules already set up, but you'll have very few or none. To add a new one, select Add Rule at the bottom of the page. Start by giving your booking rule a name. I'm going to call mine simply the Saturday rule. And just to the right of that, you can select a colour, which will become important later on. Following the colour selection, you've then got the option for gender restrictions. Now I'm going to set mine as an all genders booking rule or a mixed booking rule. If you wanted to create a male specific booking rule, you'd select the male option. If you wanted a female specific booking rule, you'd select the female option. Following the gender selection, you can then select the membership type restrictions. I'm going to select just full female and full male, while excluding the midweek membership categories. There are also a number of other options you can select when creating a booking rule, such as member and visitor handicap restrictions, as well as age restrictions. Once you are happy with the setup of your rule, scroll to the bottom of the page and select the Save option. My booking rule is now been saved, and you can then select Back to Booking Rules. Your newly created booking rule will now be in the list of booking rules. Once you've completed configuring your required booking rules, you can move on to creating timesheet templates. Timesheet templates are built so T-structures can easily and quickly be applied to multiple events. There are many components which go into creating a timesheet template. Let's go through them now. From the fixture list area, we're going to navigate to the templates section, which is found in the top middle of the screen. Again, because I'm on a demo site here, I've got a number of templates already configured, but to create a new one, select the Create New Template option at the bottom of the screen. The screen that will appear is a completely blank timesheet. The first area we're going to go to is Configure Event, which is found in the top middle of the screen. Once selected, select the Details and Opening option. The Details and Openings area holds all the key details about the event, such as the event title, opening and closing times, as well as some booking limits. I'm going to call mine here just a Saturday template. to correlate with my Saturday booking rule that I created earlier. Now, being a template, you don't need a description or a date, but what we do need to look at is the auto open options. So there's an option here to auto open to kiosk only, and then an option to auto open to internet and kiosk. I'm going to set mine to 8 days at 1500 hours, which is 3 PM. There's also an auto close option, which I would always recommend club set. I'm going to set mine to 6 AM in the morning. There are a number of other options within details and opening which may not be used, but one key area is the maximum bookings per player, which I'm going to set to 4. Once you're happy with all of your details, you can select Save from the bottom of the screen. When the page reloads, you'll notice that the event title has changed to the title that we input in the details and opening area, such as Saturday template. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is create the T markers that are in play for this timesheet through Configure Event and then Manage Groups. To add a new T marker, select the Add option at the bottom left of the screen. Now, in here, all you've got to do is put in a group name. I'm going to call my first one the first T and select Save. In addition to this, I'm going to create a second group, again by selecting the Add option and entering in the 10th T. So my timesheet is going to be a simple 2T start. If you require more T block options to be set up, repeat the process by selecting the Add option. If not, go back to Event. Now that the T groups have been set up, we can add some rows to them by selecting Edit Rows and then Add Rows. The window that appears will allow you to put in a start time, the number of intervals, so how many tea times, and the interval duration, which is the gap between each tea time. The teas I'm setting up here are very, very simple, starting at 8 o'clock, 10 tea times with 10-minute intervals on the first tea. Then select Create Rows. The page is reloaded and now I've got 10 tea times going from 8 o'clock through until 9:30. To create my 10th tea times, I simply repeat the process by selecting Edit Rows and Add Rows. Again, I'm going to have my start time as 8 AM, but you can have yours at whatever you want, producing 10 intervals, and my interval duration is going to be 10 minutes. Now, key point here is I'm going to select my 10th tea from the group option instead of my first tea. Again, I'm going to select Create Rows. Now that I've created my 10th tea as well, I've both got the first and the 10th tea in my tea structures. So now I've got the basic structures of how I want my timesheet to look. Now, configuring my timesheet doesn't just stop there. I may want to create some rules or implement some restrictions around the rows within my timesheet. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight just the first 3 rows on my timesheet to show you what I mean. To easily highlight the rows, select the group name on the left-hand side of the tea time. You'll see there that they've been highlighted in grey. Select the Edit Rows and then Edit Rows option again. The window that opens is my row details, which has a number of options in there, including things like group size, whether or not 9 holes is able to be played in these times. But of key note here, I'm going to look at my Visitors Allowed section. Now this basically means, are members allowed to bring guests? I'm going to tick this. So we've got a number of options that open up, such as require golf link number, require home club, and require handicap. Now require gender will always be selected. You can't deselect that, unfortunately. You can then specify how many visitors per group are allowed, as well as how many visitors per member are allowed. Once you're happy with your configuration, you can select Save. And when the timesheet reloads, what you'll notice here is that those first 3 rows now say Active MV, so members and visitors, while the ones after that just show Active M, which signifies members. The next item I'm going to build into my timesheet is my booking rules. Now again, I'm just going to select the first 3 rows on my timesheet and go to Edit Rows, followed by the Edit Rows option on the left-hand side. Now this time, instead of just looking at my row details, I'm going to select my Rules and Schedules tab from the top right there. Now my current booking rule says no rule, but But when I click on the drop down list option, it's going to look at all my booking rule options. So I'm going to scroll down and find my Saturday rule, and I'm going to set the blocking action to block. Now that's really important to always set that to block. Now I'm going to click save down the bottom here, and when the timesheet reloads, you'll see that there's that nice pinky colour around the times there, which is the same colour that I set up my booking rule as previously. So this is also an example of how you can apply just certain rules to certain areas of the timesheet. What I'm going to do now is a quick way through edit rows and then select all rows is to apply these rules and the restrictions to all the rows. So you'll see that by selecting all rows, it selects all of the rows in my timesheet. I'm going to go to edit rows, and it's already got the details pre-filled in from those first 3 rows about, say, visitors allowed, the 3 guests, as well as my booking rule. But when I say save this time, instead of applying it just to those 3 rows at the start, it's now going to apply it to my whole timesheet there, as you can see, both first and the 10th tee. Now, one of the commonly performed tasks in a timesheet or a timesheet template is deleting a row. So I'm just going to delete my 9:30 off the 10th there by selecting the 10th tee option, which highlights my row. Then under edit rows, there's a delete rows option. Now, anytime you delete anything, it's going to come up with a warning. So in just a second, it'll pop up, there it is, and select OK. Now it's really important that before you delete anything, you're sure that's what you want to delete. Now if we scroll down the bottom again, you'll see my timesheet now finishes at 9:20 instead of 9:30 as it did previously. This concludes creating my timesheet template. Now any of the processes can be repeated to create a more complex timesheet. The process just shown should be completed for all required timesheet configurations. Now that the timesheet templates have been created, they need to be applied to the events in the fixture list. There are 2 ways timesheet templates can be applied to events. Let's take a look at these now. The first way to apply a timesheet template is individually to a specific event. So I'm going to select my January 5th timesheet here. Now within the timesheet you can see that it's completely blank. So what I'm going to do here is go to configure event and then select the option which says apply template. When I select apply template, it's going to open a window with the drop down option. Now select the drop down option and find the timesheet template from the list which you want to apply to the day. Once selected, select the apply template option. When the page reloads, my timesheet will now be applied to this event. To navigate back to the timesheets area, you can select the fixtures option from the top left. The second way that you can apply a timesheet template is by doing it to multiple events at once. This can be done by selecting the templates option from the top middle area of the screen. Find your template that you want to apply to multiple events. I'm going to find my Saturday timesheet template that we created just earlier. And once I've located that, I'll select the apply to multiple events option. Now there's a number of parameters that fit here. Now I've accidentally selected Tuesday there. I don't want to select Tuesday. I'm going to select just my Saturday there. Then you pick a date range for it to apply to. And for the golf fixtures, it'll always be the golf course is the resource. Now you can select whether it's just applies to male or female only events. As well as you've got the option to what it's to apply to. So you've got empty events or all events. Now be really careful if you select all events, because if there is bookings on future events, doing this process will actually delete those bookings. So be very careful in the areas that you select there. So I'm just going to select the empty events option. Now when I select apply template, the system will work in the background to apply that template to the parameters that you've just set there between the day, the dates, and so on. To go back to the fixture list, select the fixtures option at top left there, and if we scroll down our fixture list now, we go to a Saturday that was previously blank, we can now see that our timesheet template that we created earlier is now applied to that day. The timesheet template application process should be completed for all events requiring a timesheet. Once the template has been applied to an individual event, ad hoc adjustments to the timesheet can be made which will not affect the timesheet template. For example, deleting a row or changing a booking rule. This completes the fixture navigation and timesheet configuration video. Please select the next option below to view the next video in the series. The next video will cover the booking processes within the system.